Hey guys, and welcome back to a new and improved Geek Corner Geekcast. So this is going to be a little different from my previous setup that I did. I'm not going to be doing interview-based content. Some of them will be interviews, but not all of them. We're going to be doing more topic-based, more news of the week, game of the week, what's going on in the gaming world, what is basically upsetting people in the gaming world. And we do have a couple of those today that we're going to talk about. But my name is Matt of Matt's Geek Corner, and my co-host is Mittens. I'll let her go take the floor from here if she wants to introduce herself a little bit.
Okay. Yeah, definitely. Hey, everybody. So we're gonna actually start talking about maybe the expectations and goals. We definitely want to take this bigger and better, but we're working on just doing our topics, getting to know you, getting everything done through here, and giving you a little bit more information about the gaming news, even some of the movie news as well. Um, I'm a streamer, also a content creator. I'm on Twitch, YouTube. You can find me pretty much everywhere. I specialize in RPGs. I really like them. I like a good story. So if you have any questions or any good RPGs to play, please let me know. I definitely would appreciate it. Hobbies, photographs, doing video game news with y'all, of course, and Matt because he's amazing. Um, just chilling, watching TV, Netflix and chill. And I've been gaming for forever. I don't want to tell you my age, but I was probably 7 or 8, and I had a Game Boy Color. So if that kind of ages me a little bit, Pokemon Blue was my first video game. That was personally mine. But I played on Sega too with my brother. My favorite console would probably be, for right now, it's gonna have to be the PS5. But I collect all the systems, so I have every single one of them. You can play with me on Xbox, PS, Switch, and PC if you want to find me on any one of those. And I hope to one day get big, I guess.
I
How
think
about
that
you, Matt?
I think that's pretty much a dream for all of us. So I started gaming back in
Don't.
1990, I think it
Ooh.
was. I was probably 5. Yeah, no, I was 5. Okay, so a little bit of a backstory on this. My mom used to do the Tupperware, not the Tupperware, yeah, the Tupperware stuff,
Yeah.
and she took me to one of these things once because my dad was a teacher. He was uh, actually he was also a football trainer too, so he was working. So she couldn't leave me at home or my sisters, and so she took us to, or she just took me. I think it was just me, and she just took me to this thing, and I remember the lady that owned the house was like, "Hey, we got a Nintendo over here." I had no idea what the heck a Nintendo was, and she sits me down in front of it and turns on Super Mario Brothers 3, and all I remember was the little trees dancing around the screen, and I'm just looking at the screen going, "I don't know what to do." She didn't tell me what to do. She didn't say, "Okay, you hit these do these buttons to do this." So I'm just sitting there at the screen not realizing what to do. And I think my grandpa had already gotten me a Nintendo, so we had one at home, but I just didn't play it. And the story goes that a friend of mine came over to the house and was playing Nintendo, and I was watching him play. So my mom was like, why don't you try playing too? And that's where it started. She taught me how to play the Mario game, and that is basically where it goes from there. That the rest is history basically. But I've been playing from Nintendo. I got a Genesis SNES when I was younger. For about most of the 90s, I did not have the PS1 or the N64. It was just the Genesis and the SNES because did I say PS4? I meant PS1. I don't know. I'm
The
confusing myself
PlayStation.
here. The PlayStation, because those were so expensive.
Yeah.
I remember them being pretty pricey, and so they did not want to buy those. I didn't get them until probably the late '90s, and by then PS2 was coming out soon. The GameCube was coming out. It was known as the Dolphin at the time. Was coming out. Xbox was coming out, and I was laughing at that because I said Microsoft. who, who would want to buy a Microsoft system? Their computers out. Yes. Nope. I have every Xbox system now. Um, but game wise, I'm slowly getting into RPG games. Now I started playing Final Fantasy VII. I've gotten up to the point where you meet Tifa, and that is it. That's as far as I've gotten in the game. And I am gonna be
Remake?
no, 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 no. I'm streaming the remake. I'm playing the original off stream because people
Sweet.
said it's about 40 hours, and I said I really don't want to. Then again, I heard the remake's pretty long too, but I don't know if I'm gonna do every little thing on stream. I might do some of the side stuff off stream because I don't want to have a playlist of like 40 episodes. And if it's 40 hours long, it's going to take quite a bit of time to get through the game. But I'm slowly getting back into RPGs or getting into them. I can thank South Park for that. So Final Fantasy VII Remake and Kingdom Hearts, which we're going to talk a little bit about that in a minute as well. But Kingdom Hearts is also on my list. I'm going to play that series because I had a vote as to what to play for the 600 subs, and they said everybody voted on Final Fantasy Remake. Nobody had any love for Kingdom Hearts, even though it was at the time that the announcement. We'll talk about that later. So mainly game wise, what I play is action games, Metal Gear Solid, horror, a lot of horror games. I play a lot of horror games. Most of my streams on YouTube consist of horror games. I'm gonna try to keep them to like the mainstream games and like the lower end, like maybe like the Suffering. I might do a playthrough of that because I don't think anybody's really searching for that game, but you never know. And I'm gonna try and get into some action games on stream too. Like I do want to stream Metal Gear Solid because I know that's a lengthy game, and to do a playlist of that, it's kind of it's gonna be a lot. I do a lot of platformers as well. Crash Bandicoot, Spyro. I've never really played a whole lot of, but Ratchet and Clank, Mario, Sonic, games like that. And really, when I initially started this channel, I wanted to do playthroughs of my games because people used to tell me all the time, you know, you talk about games a lot, not in a bad way, but you're
Yeah.
so knowledgeable in your games and what you talk about. You should really do a YouTube channel, do some YouTube reviews and everything. So I wanted to do this back in 2012, but somebody told me not to because it was a waste of time. And then I got told not to do playthroughs on YouTube because that's what Twitch is for. But I I started them here and I really enjoyed doing them here. It's just when I first started, I really should have started with Twitch first. That way I
Yeah.
could have been better at talking through the games because now I'm really great at talking through the games and just, here and there. And the thing is, you don't have to worry about and this is something we can talk about in our Twitch versus YouTube episode, which is going to be coming soon, but you don't have to worry about focusing on a live chat at the same time. So that's why I like making playthroughs as well. But yeah, you can find me on pretty much everything as well. Twitter, TikTok, Instagram, here, Twitch.
Mhm.
It's all Match Geek Corner. It used to be two different names, and I said that's confusing. Let me just make it one name and one name only. But that's about it. That's about all I had for the introduction to me. My favorite.
Awesome.
Oh, sorry. My favorite console is probably the Genesis, Sega Genesis. So
Ooh.
I'm gonna go by years. In the early '90s, it was the Genesis. Late '90s, it was the PlayStation 1. 2000s, it was PS2. I played the absolute crap out of that system. I ended up killing it. Rest in peace, PS2. But
No.
we had a lot of great memories. A lot of it was me watching DVDs, but I was also playing like GTA Vice City a lot, Metal Gear Solid 2 a lot. I'm trying to think what else I played. There was a lot of PS2 games I just spent a lot of time playing, and I think that's what contributed to my lens basically crapping out on me. But I got one of those early PS2s that had that problem. I got it in 2001, so it kind of messed up a little bit. But current console, my favorite is probably the PS5. I love the Series X. I really need to tell my PS5, look, I need to give you a break. I need to play these games I have on Xbox. I got Dying Light just sitting there looking at me, going, hey,
Yep.
the hell. So I've been trying to do more Xbox streams as well to just get some more, love going for this system. And really, that's what's great about the playthroughs is that I can play Xbox games too and throw those on the channel. And there's some games that I will get them on Xbox for the purpose of that I'm going to play it. Red Dead
Yeah.
Redemption 1, I got on 360. So 2, I got on Xbox One. And I remember someone telling me, you made a mistake. You should have gotten on. I don't care. I don't like my games on my wall missing a game in their series. I don't want Red Dead Redemption 1 sitting there by itself with
No.
no sequel. And then you got my PlayStation games over here on the other shelf. So some games, if I start them on one system, they're going to stay on that system. I don't want to be jumping around and all that stuff. But yeah, that's about it for my introduction. Sorry, it was a little lengthy.
No, it's all good. A little bit of information about everybody, especially since I mean I couldn't even remember. I did play Sega first
Mhm.
in the Genesis with my brother because he sometimes would want to beat my butt in Mortal Kombat. So we would play that together, and then he would let me play Tails as Sonic. and play with him. So that was like a memory that
Mhm.
I never really got it. It wasn't my system, but he would let me play it. My first was the Game Boy Color and then the N64 because he wouldn't let me play his PlayStation 1 because he was a
Yeah.
jerk.
So I had one of those situations, and I know a lot of people talk about this now when they were younger. Oh, my neighbor had this console, so we went over there. My other neighbor had this console, so we went over there. My next door neighbor had the Genesis, and I only
Yeah.
had the Nintendo at this time, so I went over there, and he was playing the Terminator, which is a tough as hell game. And believe it or not, that game is actually made by Bethesda. I don't know if it's the Super Nintendo version or the Sega Genesis version or all the old 90s Terminator 1, not T2, but Terminator 1, all of them were made by Bethesda. So I'm hoping and praying that one day, we'll see them on Game Pass, but at licensing, probably not.
Are you
Um,
listening, Bethesda?
Probably not. I just wanted the PC games. I don't really care about the Genesis or the Super Nintendo games because those kind of sucked. But I want the PC games that were first person shooters that looked like Fallout, but in the Terminator world. It was awesome. So yeah, Bethesda, if you're listening, come on. I want those games. I never got to play them. I have Resistance on PS5, and that's the closest thing I get to those games. But yeah, no, I used to, and I think that's like my parents would see the systems and they saw the neighbor that had that, and they're like, oh, well, maybe we should get him one. And the two funny stories about that was I came across the Genesis and the Super Nintendo both in a closet in my house, and I asked my mom, "What's with that in the closet? What's with the Super Nintendo?" And she's, "No, it's just full of papers and files and stuff from work." I was like, "Okay, me being a stupid kid. Okay, whatever. Yeah, okay, let's go back to hide and seek with my sisters and everything. Because I was hiding in the it wasn't a it was a coat closet, so it was like underneath. It was like Harry Potter. It was underneath the stairs. So
Yeah.
that's where I was hiding, and I just saw it one day. And the same thing with the Genesis. And both Christmases that year, I got the Genesis and then the year after, I got the Super Nintendo. And so I was like, oh, so that was for me, and you lied to me. Um, so yeah, no, they would, and I think part of that was my grandpa too. He was looking at the Super Nintendo one time at Toys R Us. Oh man, I'm aging myself here. Um, and I guess he was talking to my mom about it and was like, maybe you should get him this system for Christmas. And then, yeah, like I said, we didn't get any new consoles until 1998, 1999. It was when I got the PS1 and the N64 because the PS1 had lowered in price. I think it was 130 at this time, and DualShock had just come out. And the N64, my mom bought it from somebody at work. They had like a wasn't really Craigslist, but it was like a bulletin board where you can put up, okay, I have puppies for sale, I have a stove for sale, I have this. And so she found the N64 and got it from some guy that she worked with. And he had a fully 100% Super Mario 64. My dumbass went and deleted the save because I
No.
wanted to start over from scratch. I said, why did I do that? So yeah. Yeah, that's pretty much my history on what got me into gaming and stuff.
Sweet. So next we're going to start with some news. We got some video game releases that you want to talk about?
Yes. So, I know it's a little delayed, but Lego Star Wars Skywalker Saga came out. It's still within the month of April. Came out earlier this month, and I've been playing the absolute crap out of this game. It's very fun, and you go through all 9 movies. You don't go through every single little bit of the movie. You go through maybe. So I'm starting with A New Hope. I'm going in the order that I saw the movies. I started with A New Hope. You go through the Princess Leia level at the beginning, and then you go into Tatooine with the droids and everything, trying to find Luke Skywalker. So it's mainly the important parts of the movie, but between each mission, you have a hub world that you can basically go through and do everything. If you've ever played a Lego game, then you know exactly what I'm talking about. There's a lot of collectibles. There's a lot of things to find. There's actually more side missions in this one than any other previous Lego game because it's so much bigger. It's bigger than all of them. I think the last game I played in the Lego games that was this huge was probably Lego Batman 3 or Lego Marvel Superheroes 1. I didn't really care for Superheroes 2, and I actually went and installed all those games on my PS5 because I'm like, I want to platinum all these because they're very easy games. But Lego Star Wars Skywalker Saga, there's so much to do in this game. And I was watching a video, and I'm going to give you guys this advice too if you're going to play the game. Just play it first, go through the entire game because there are certain spots that you cannot get to unless you have certain characters. Like there's a spot where I'm saying that probably requires Boba Fett, but I do not have him yet. I have the Mandalorian because he came with the deluxe edition, but he doesn't have a jetpack. So I'm like, So there's a lot of characters that you will need for certain areas. And then once you, I will say the flight, because as I played through it, I got through the flight areas on the Death Star. That shit is fun. And I really want them to bring Rogue Squadron back. Bring it back, not in Lego form, but bring it back. I did not like Star Wars Squadrons because of the controls. They were so backwards, and I was having a really hard time trying to control it. Because it was like up is down, down is up, and then you got to
Ugh.
use the right stick to look. And I'm like, I can't. This is making me dizzy. I can't do it. So I'm gonna try it
Yeah.
again one day. But initially, I could not play that game because he was using the same controls as Battlefield 5, and I hated the flight controls in Battlefield 5 because of
Ugh.
that reason. Because I want to be able to, if I'm flying in a game, I want to be able to pitch up and look up, down, left, right. Just make the left stick
Yeah.
be all the movements, left, right, up, down. I don't want the right stick to do anything. Don't let it do
Yeah.
anything. I want the left stick to do everything. So yeah, I just finished A New Hope in the game though, and I started up on Empire Strikes Back, probably the one of my favorite Star Wars movies, and I'm gonna really enjoy that one because Hoth was my favorite part of the movie and everything, and it's just it's so awesome that they have all 9 movies in the game. And like I said, each one of them is just important parts of the movie. So you probably got about 5 or 6 missions per movie. I'm trying to think because once you finish with the Tatooine stuff, then you go to Yavin 4 and you're doing the missions over there. There's actually one spot in the middle where you can just keep shooting TIE fighters and everything and go into battle zones and just fighting. And before you don't even have to go to the next level, you can just be like, I want to keep fighting over here. But then there is a galaxy map where you can go anywhere you want, and it unlocks once you beat one of the movies, and it unlocks and says, okay, you can. There was a lot of stuff. It's like you can do this, but wait, there's more. You can do this, but wait, if you do this, you get one extra thing. I'm like, good God, there's a lot of stuff to do in this game. And one of those things was you can go to the travel to the galaxy map and basically do free mode. And I'm just like, you guys just told me a lot of stuff, and I'm confused as hell right now. So I'm gonna keep playing the game, and I will deal with this later when I come back to it. So it's a fun game. If you enjoy Lego games, definitely play it. You get all 9 movies. You get the original trilogy, the prequels, the Rey trilogy, the Kylo Ren trilogy, as I call it. And then I think right now they have a free unlockable for Rogue One. So I unlocked Jyn Erso, I think that's her name. I unlocked her, and then they have a classic pack for the original Lego Star Wars minifigures from 1999. So when they didn't have all the facial expressions, and they, if I remember correctly, the original Lego Star Wars characters, they had just the yellow brick faces that normal Legos would have. And then now they have like, the color of your skin. They have the white characters, the black characters, the green characters, the blue characters. They have all of them
Yeah.
have the colors that they would be. So it was really cool, and it's really neat to look back and see how those characters looked back then. And I do have a couple Lego sets from the 20th anniversary that I'm not sure I want to open, but one of them is the Slave One, and I think they all have classic Lego characters, and I think that one came with either Han Solo or Lando Calrissian. Lando's in one of them, and Han Solo's in another one. I just don't know which one is which, but that was really cool to have those Lego sets, and they are not available anymore. Those sets, they were in 2019, I think, and once they sold out, that was it. I'm pretty sure they don't have them anymore, but that is my gaming related. I mean, Ghostwire came out too, but I don't want to spend too much time talking on that. Maybe next time, because I haven't played Ghostwire in quite a bit. So next episode, I'll talk more about that one.
Okay, awesome, awesome. Yeah, so I have a little bit of news about Rune Factory 5, which was a very I am a Rune Factory geek. Like, I love all the Rune Factory games. We've waited many, many years for this game to come out. The whole production team had disbanded, and now they're kind of all back together. We have the producer back. But the game came out on the 22nd of March, and I'm gonna say don't buy it.
So for somebody who doesn't know what Rune Factory is, I guess
Okay.
tell us a little about what the game is like, and then tell us why we should not buy it.
Okay, like right now, I think right now you shouldn't because there's
It's like
way too many stuff
Destiny
going on. But
situation, right?
yeah, yeah. So like the game itself, if you ever played any of the simulation Harvest Moon, Story of Seasons, any of those games, it's like that, but an RPG version. It was made by the same people pretty much. It was like Natsumi and Marvelous, and then they split. And you can do the farming, the relationship building. You can pretty much level up any skills you have, whatever weapons you have, you can level them up. Cooking, everything, magic.
Mm.
And you fight and you go into dungeons and you, instead of having animals, you have monsters you can get, and they can give you the other stuff, milk, eggs, stuff like that. And they can fight alongside you. And it's a really interesting game. There's really great stories behind it, and they all kind of connect. Because you can do like the first one and then they all kind of go 20 years after each other.
Right.
So this one was supposed to be like 20 years after the last one, Rune Factory 4, which is probably the best one in the series. It has the most intricate story and amazing characters, and it's just awesome. But this one, as soon as you pretty much boot it up, there's too many glitches. You're losing
Mm.
all your frame rate. As soon as you pop into a world, it takes forever for anything to populate. You're
No Man's
getting
Land.
frustrated. Yeah, you're getting frustrated because like you're trying to lock on an enemy and you
Mhm.
do a special attack and you, for some reason, you overshoot it and you go way past them. But you locked on the enemy. Like that makes no
Right.
sense. But yeah, like right now it's really kind of glitchy. The story is kind of easy. Some of the people's conversations you're having are kind of like they have no personality. And this kind of happened with, what other game did they recently release? It wasn't Harvest Moon, it was Story of
Cyberpunk.
Seasons. Pioneers of Olive Town, they also produced that one. And they had to release patches and stuff to actually make the characters more interesting.
Hmm.
So so I feel like if they do that, if they start releasing a little bit more patches, it'll run smoother and actually make it a little more complicated. And it's just the maps. Oh, they're
Mm.
so frustrating because the maps in 4 are so great. The artwork is beautiful. It's not just like a massive world where there's nothing you can find, hidden
Right.
objects and stuff. Rune Factory 5 is just a plain with nothing in it. And you have to run forever to get to wherever you need to be. I'm like, oh, frustrating. I've waited so long for this game. So I wouldn't buy it now.
Mm.
I'd wait and hopefully they'll make patches that will make this game a little bit better than what it currently is. But as a avid Rune Factory fan, I am disappointed. But I still have it. I'll still play it, and I'm hoping they fix their problems.
Yeah, that sounds like Mass Effect Andromeda. I was so excited. Many people were so excited for that game, and then it came out and we're like, what the hell is
Yeah.
going on with this game? Like, I get that people were upset with Cyberpunk too, but the issue with that game was they were hyping it up a lot. They were hyping it up like ever since it got announced until it released. So that game was getting a
Yeah.
lot of hype. I myself did not really care too much for it. Yes, I still got it. I'm still gonna play it. I might actually do a
Mhm.
playthrough of it on this channel. Like just do like the story games like that. Doing a playthrough, I'm kind of like, do I just want to focus on the story missions for this episode and then side missions for this episode and then taking out outposts in this episode? Because I don't want to make the episodes like an hour or 2 hours long. I want to do like a 30-minute to 45-minute thing
Okay.
for games like that, because games like that are pretty lengthy and there's a lot to do in them. So, it's something like that. But I'm gonna do something, a stream like, or a recording like that, or even maybe a stream. I haven't really thought about it, but yeah, like games these days. I mean, you remember back in the day when game released broken, it was broken. That was it.
Yeah.
Resident Evil Survivor is an example. And if y'all caught my episode on Wednesday that I posted for that, there was a spot where a lot of the grammar was just broken in the game. And a lot of those older games, especially Dino Crisis 2, the grammar was just broken. And I was trying to read it on stream one time and I said, I can't. Sorry, guys, I cannot read this out loud. It is so poor. And there's a spot in Resident Evil Survivor when you pick up a phone. There's a lot of issues with that game, but this is just one of them. And, the character says hello and then the phone hangs up. And normally I'd be like, oh, they hung up or the phone got disconnected. The text says, the phone hang up. I'm like, what? Phone hang up? The hell? So today, if that game released, first of all, it probably would have been a lot better and a lot longer and not as crappy. I mean, I enjoy the game. I like bad games, but I do know people who still do not like that game. But if it was released today, they would have patched that. They would have patched that little phone hang up. They would have, done something to fix it. It's games like that today. They patch them. There's day one patches. They fix them. Days Gone was a game that had a lot of patches upon release, and that's part of the reason why I stopped playing it originally. Because almost every day I'd put the game in, I was like, okay, I'm gonna play the game again. Oh, we need to download a patch, and at the time my internet wasn't as fast, so the downloads took about 2 to 3 hours. I said, you know what, screw this, I'll play something else. I'll play Xbox or something. Let this download in the background. Um, so, they fix these games a lot, and you just look at Cyberpunk. It's still, if I'm not mistaken, still getting fixed today. Um, it's still a fun game. So basically, yeah, the companies will fix games today, no problem. Back then, you got
Yeah.
a game broken, it was broken. That was it.
Yeah.
No fixing. There were some games like what was it, Aladdin? They actually released a complete edition, and the complete edition was basically here's everything that was fixed that was messed up in the original game. And if you play the Disney Classics collection, they have both versions. They have the original, and then they have the final cut. And basically, they say that's the version you want to play. So I'm gonna play that one. Not that I even remember what Aladdin was like or what any of the issues in Aladdin was, because it's been so long since I played that game. But they said that this was part of the fixes. So yeah, companies were fixing games back then, but it wasn't common for them to fix games. You ship out a game broken, you're broken.
Well, it
Nothing.
was too expensive at that point
Mhm.
because then they would have to make a new cartridge. They didn't have the internet. It was just like, here you go, here's another one. It was just way too much production to fix anything that was broken at that point. Hopefully, it wasn't too broke that you couldn't just bypass that section of the game and continue. But
I
like this one's been out in Japan since last year,
okay.
and they still haven't done all the patches and stuff they should have done already. But they fixed some of the stuff, but just not enough.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, it's just I don't get. There's some games I will buy them, but I might not play them day one because there's stuff coming out like fixes and everything. And there's
Mhm.
a list of games I'm playing. Like I just got this yesterday, Quake on the PS5 from Limited Run Games. I also got Axiom Verge from
Nice.
Limited Run. Sorry, it's glaring. And I plan to play both of them, just not right now. And Quake is also on the Series X, so it's like, damn it. Do I want to play it on there? Do I want to play it on this? Do I want to play it on that? Um, but I remember when Doom 64 released, or what was it, last year, 2 years ago, when they released all those Dooms, Doom 1, 2, and 3 on the Switch, the PS4, I'm not 360, Xbox One. There was an issue where people couldn't get in to play the games because they needed to log into the Bethesda, and they're like, I don't want to make an account for Bethesda. I just want to play the game. So they
Yeah.
patched it in so that you did not have to do that anymore. You could just go straight into the game. And the problem with that was I was trying to log in and I didn't even remember my login. So I'm like, I don't know how to get into this. I can't play this game. And they fixed it pretty quickly. Like it was fixed the next day or within that same day, I think. So they were like, we're getting a lot of complaints. We need to do something about this.
Yeah. Yeah. So we got some video game news though. We got some new Tomb Raider.
Yes. The new Tomb Raider was announced a couple weeks ago, and it is going to be running off the Unreal 5 engine. Now, I've seen some of the gameplay and footage of Unreal Engine 5 and what these games are going to look like, and it's going to look amazing. It's going to look awesome. There are theories, and people think that it's going to be a reimagining slash remake of the original Tomb Raider, which is totally cool. I'll definitely play a remake of the original Tomb Raider. We already have one in the anniversary for 360, and I believe it was not on PS3. I can't remember, but if you play Tomb Raider Legend, there was that whole Tomb Raider Legend, Anniversary, Underworld were all a trilogy, which didn't make a whole lot of sense because it just didn't make sense. Anyways, they can do a full remake of the original Tomb Raider, and I'll be fine because trying to play the original Tomb Raider is rough. It is hard playing that game. Any of those original ones, it is tough. I will say that Legend is probably the first one that I was actually able to get through and not be confused as hell. Tomb Raider 3 I actually got through, but I think I cheated in that game to get through the game. But Legend was the first one that I was fully able to get through. Same with Underworld, I didn't finish, but I was able to get through it. The levels are just long, so I want, if they're going to remake it or do a new Tomb Raider game, I want it to keep the same style as the reboot series from 2013. Keep the same style as that. Keep it more open. Make it a little more like Uncharted. Same, similar to Uncharted. But the
Yep.
thing with Shadow of Tomb Raider was it ended on a cliffhanger. So they didn't really give us the full ending. It was just an unfinished game. And that's probably why I've never gone back through to finish it because it doesn't set up another game. But now I might just say, screw it. let's go through it anyways and finish the game. Um, but I'm interested to see how this new one's gonna be turning out. And speaking of remakes, Max Payne 1 and 2 are getting remakes on the PS5 and the Xbox Series X, and I want to say PC as well. And here's the thing about that. People are getting confused again with what a remaster is and what a remake is. GTA Definitive Edition is a remaster. Resident Evil 2 on the PS4 is a remake. Final Fantasy 7 on the PS4 is a remake.
Yes.
Turok 1 and 2 on the Xbox One, PS4, Nintendo Switch is a remaster, not necessarily a remake. So, remaking Max Payne from the ground up. And here's what people were getting afraid, and I'm gonna, you know, ease your nerves, guys. Remedy is the team that made the original Max Payne 1 and 2. So if you love Max Payne 1 and 2, you don't have to be scared. They're going to do this game justice. It is their baby. They're going to make it precisely how they did. They're going to listen to the fans. You have Alan Wake. They finally given us Alan Wake 2. You have Control, which is, they're all fantastic games. And I said this on a stream back when I was playing Control, and even Alan Wake, I said they really need to make a Max Payne game in this style with these control setups, because the original Max Paynes, if you've played at least the first one, those controls are rough. And especially the nightmare levels, they are rough because you're going on a little narrow pathway and it's just like, oh crap, how am I supposed to get across this without falling? And I've fallen a lot in that level. So Max Payne 1 and 2 remakes, they're not going to really mess with the third game because Remedy didn't work on that one. They only worked on the first two. Rockstar went full on with the third game. However, I would like a remaster of the third game without all those janky ass cutscenes and the text popping up in random spots like you'd be watching. It's like John Wick 1. And that's one of the things I did not like about John Wick 1 was you'd be talking and the subtitles would pop up in the corner over here in like comic book text and then pop up over here and then down there and it's like stop.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Stop. And they did it with Max Payne 3 and the cutscenes were just all wonky and it's like getting dizzy just watching these cutscenes. What is going on? Stop it. I don't like this. And a lot of people were not fans of that either. They said the game's great except for those cutscenes. And I don't know what they were thinking. I'm glad they didn't do that with GTA 5. But also, we got some new announcements. Kingdom Hearts 4 was announced a couple weeks back. And you and I both were saying how we've never played this series. And
Correct.
We're going to definitely be jumping into it. My thing was, well, first off, what are your thoughts on Kingdom Hearts 4? I'm going to let you.
Oh, it looks great. It looks amazing. I know a lot of people who have played the series who are great big fans of this series in general, and they're super hype about it. Being someone who's never played one, and is definitely on my backlog. Like I definitely want to play them. Just being able to see like the new cutscenes and where they're going with everything, like it has definitely made me interested more so than I was before in getting into that whole universe.
So the thing with Kingdom Hearts was, as I mentioned before earlier in the episode, I was not a huge fan of RPG games back in mainly JRPGs. Really, if it had RPG in the title, I did not want to play it. If it had anime-looking characters, I did not want to play it. I was just not a fan of games like that. I was spoiled by
Blasphemy.
I was spoiled by games that had voiceovers and like Resident Evils, Metal Gear Solids, Castlevania, Symphony of the Night had. Well, I also liked Castlevania 64. Yeah, I know, blasphemy. I really enjoyed that game a lot. It's a fun game, guys. It's a fun game. Yeah, it has its flaws, but it's a fun game. Anyways, now somebody told me once, they're like, Castlevania Symphony of the Night's an RPG, and I argued with them and said, no, it's not. It's a freaking action game. It's a vampire horror game. What are you talking about? But it really is. You do level up, and I didn't think about that. I didn't put the two together. That I'm leveling up. I'm getting XP. I'm doing all this stuff. I'm backtracking. This is a role-playing game. And then somebody tried to tell me our Resident Evil was a role-playing game. I said, well, what the hell are you talking about? No, it's not.
Yeah.
It is far from an RPG. It is a survival horror game. The one reason, and I was always kind of low-key interested in Kingdom Hearts because I do like Disney. Yeah. And I really wanted to play it. And I remember a friend of mine in high school was talking about it. And he kept saying, Kingdom Hearts is this and that. He was telling me all about it. I said, the game does sound fun, but I did not like turn-based RPG games. I did not like turn-based combat, so I didn't want to play it. I remember a roommate in college was playing the second one, and I still didn't care for the game or the series. I was like, whatever. So when the third game got announced, I was like, there's so much Disney stuff in this game. They got Nightmare Before Christmas. They got Pirates of the Caribbean. They got all this stuff. They just don't have Marvel. And I'll talk about something that I read in a minute. But once I YouTube some gameplay and stuff, I was like, you know what? This is like a hack and okay, I might be blasphemy saying that, but it's like a hack and slash game. The gameplay is not turn based, and it's just going through, just hitting. It looked like Ninja Gaiden to me. I was like, okay, I'll play this. And then that was actually not what got me into RPGs. It was Mass Effect and Fallout that got me into RPG games. And then
Oh,
the
yeah.
one that really got me into turn based combat was South Park Stick of Truth. I was playing that and I was like, okay, I can get into games like this. This is actually pretty fun. And it just took me a few years to finally get into the original Final Fantasy. I got the remaster on Switch, and I also had it on PS4, but I think it was like heavily discounted one day, and I was just like, whatever, it's $2, sure. Um, but I'm using this little thing that says it's a limiter. The special like rainbow colored attack. There's a button if you press the R3 button on which is the right thumbstick on the any version,
Yeah.
it basically gives you unlimited limiter. I'm like, oh shit, that's making the game a lot easier. Holy crap. So I use that when I really need to. Otherwise, I'm trying not to use it because I want to have a little bit of challenge there. But Kingdom Hearts 4, it looks good. They're using the cutscene in the engine from Final Fantasy 7 Remake, it looks like. So it's going to be pretty awesome. Some of the theories people are having is that not necessarily Marvel, but they think they saw some Star Wars stuff in one of the trailers, or in the only trailer they've released. They thought they saw the foot of a AT-AT walker, and then some people think that the end of the trailer is a Sith coming up to Goofy and Donald, or just
Ooh.
a character in general from Star Wars, because we don't know who it is. We don't know who they saw, but they got scared by something, and could be a Sith, could be, we don't know. So I'm interested to see what that's about. But I do need to play through the rest of the games first before I get into it. I don't know if Haley Joel Osment is still voicing the character, though. The main character. I don't think he was the voice in the third game. Correct me if I'm wrong on that, guys. But I know he was the voice in the first two games
Yeah. Yeah.
when he was seeing dead people.
Yeah. The only other thing with the RPGs, a lot of them are getting away from the turn-based in general.
Yeah.
They it like Final Fantasy even started getting away from turn-based, more into the hack and slash.
Like with
You get
15,
this.
right? 15 was the first
Yeah,
one that really
yeah,
did that?
like you get slowed down. No, 13.
13. Okay.
13 kind of started doing that and became very linear like Remake is for 7. But like you would just slow down your time or whatever, and then you got to pick what you were doing, but you couldn't control like everybody else in your team.
Right.
So they are all kind of getting away from it. The only one that I know for sure that stays to that formula is Dragon Quest. So that one is the only one still continuously staying turn-based, which I do appreciate. But yeah, they're all kind of getting away from that just because they want to get a different fan
Audience.
base. I
Yeah, yeah,
think
yeah.
the
Absolutely.
younger generation is definitely more of the like instantaneous, like give me that hack and slash, and then older people like me are like, let me sit back and strategize
Well,
and see what I want to do.
that's like when Resident Evil went action, and a lot of the fans were like, "What the hell are you doing, guys? Why we don't want this?" And Capcom came out and specifically said straight up, "Oh, we want to get the Call of Duty fan base. The Call of Duty fan base is not going to play this game. They're going to play Call of Duty. They're going to stick
Yeah,
with Call of Duty. Just because this game has zombies doesn't mean they want to jump over and play Resident Evil. And I mean, some of them
yeah,
might have, but I just remember a lot of people not liking Resident Evil 6, myself included. But it's a whole different story for why I didn't like that game. Um, and really, you can even say that Resident Evil 4 was basically the first one that shifted from the survival horror to the action aspect of the games that later became 5 and 6, and then Revelations 1 and 2. Revelations 2 was kind of horror, but Revelations 1 was they still had that action where you had like a million guns that you could choose from.
yeah,
Um so they did that. They shifted focus onto that, and yeah, a lot of people didn't like that. And so I was glad to see that Resident Evil went back to its roots with 7, where it was horror based, it was more spooky, more scary. And then the remakes came out for 2 and 3, and I love the remakes for 2 and 3. I know people don't like the remake for 3, but I still enjoy certain parts of it. But remake 2 is fantastic. I can't wait for those to release on PS5. Um, I don't know when it's going to be, but I'm definitely going to cover the PS5 versions in my streams and everything. But yeah, some games they're just changing because the company wants to get a different audience, as you said. They want to they want to get more people in, because if you keep doing the same thing every game, it does get a little stale after a while. And I'm
Yeah.
sure that's why Capcom changed the formula of Resident Evil, because they're like, oh, it's stale. I actually also heard that it had something to do with Silent Hill and Konami. They were like, hey, look, your game looks a little too much like Silent Hill, so you need to change it. And what the hell's Konami doing these days, anyways? Making pachinko machines. So, we could have had a really good Resident Evil 4 tank control style game, but they changed it because this is what I heard. Konami was like, can't do that. But I'm hearing that the remake for Resident Evil 4 is going to be a little more horror based, and they're going to bring in elements from the beta. So maybe the fog and the Hookman and everything will make a return. Konami can't say anything because they haven't made a Silent Hill game in 10 years.
Yeah.
They have not made a Silent Hill game in 10 years. I had to think about that for a second. I was like, yeah, 2012 was the last really main game. So yeah, we'll see what happens. And I want to say that is probably part of the reason why I got into Final Fantasy VII, was because of the change in gameplay. I was like, you know what? I actually think I want to play this, because
Yeah.
the way the gameplay looked, and there were people telling me, oh, the original is better, you should just play that one. Yeah, I'm playing it, but I'm just taking it a little bit slower in the original, because it's a lengthier game. Taking
Yeah.
turns attacking and everything, and the fact that you can't go anywhere for 2 seconds without a battle happening. It's like,
I
okay,
need to
I finished
pause
the
for a
battle.
second.
Oh, here we go, another battle. Okay, so next up, we have the Sonic Origins video game news. It just got announced. The release date got announced this week for June 23rd, 22nd or 23rd, I believe it was. And that is actually Sonic's birthday. So it
Ooh.
is the anniversary of Sonic the Hedgehog. Now, there's a couple things here that I do want to bring up with the release of this, and this is kind of sort of also a video game ruckus. A lot of people are not happy with um, how the pre-order system is going, because it's kind of a weird situation. Now, the game itself is already $40. Okay, that's already a lot.
Mhm.
And but you get 4 games, so I'm not complaining. You get Sonic 1, 2, 3, Sonic and Knuckles, and Sonic CD. Okay, 5 games, but they're remastered. Again, remastered, not remade, remastered. Just HD. It's going to be like Sonic Mania. So if you play Sonic Mania, then you know exactly what the resolution is going to look like. It's probably really awesome. Now, the standard edition, they have a tier system here. Standard edition, when you pre-order, you just get the main game, and that is it. When you pre-order this thing called a Start Dash pack, you get bonus coins, mirror mode, letterbox background. Deluxe edition is mainly what they're trying to get people to go for here. Premium fun pack, you get hard missions, letterbox, character animation in the main menu. I have no idea what the hell that even means. Camera control over the main menu islands. I still do not know what that means. And then the classic music pack only gets additional music
Music.
tracks from Mega Drive games. So I'm wondering if that means you can go through and play Sonic the Hedgehog with Streets of Rage playing in the background. And then
Cool.
the deluxe edition basically gets everything included in all the tiers. So the regular edition is $40, and then the deluxe edition is. Now, I'm wondering if these packs are like DLC. So if you get the deluxe pack, you get all of that stuff. If you get the standard, you probably have to pay extra for all these packs. Okay, see, the Start Dash pack says free DLC included with the pre-order of a standard or deluxe edition. And then if you get the deluxe edition, it's everything. Now, honestly, it's a $4 difference. So I myself might just get the deluxe edition. I really don't care. And I know people are upset about it, but it's a $4 difference. Now, if it was a $20 difference, like some of the higher tier games, like the PS5 games and stuff, where you get regular for 60 and then your deluxe for 80, yeah, I'd want a little more than just a couple of music tracks in the game. I'd want some like extra stuff and everything, like early access and stuff like that. Like WWE
Yeah.
2K22, I got it 3 days early because I got the deluxe edition. It was $100, but I'm like, you know what? I want to play the game early, and I managed to trade in a bunch of stuff. I know, blasphemy again, trading in games and GameStop, but it was a lot of crap I didn't want, or I didn't want to play anymore, or stuff that I had duplicates of. Like if I had a game on PS4 that I also had on Switch, I'm gonna get rid of the Switch version, obviously, because that's the less popular of the two.
Yeah.
So I was able to get the game, and I got it a few days early. But this, I'm kind of wondering, what's the gripe for? Because it's just a $4 difference. I mean, yeah, there's gonna be people who are not happy about it. I wanted to get the standard edition, but I'm like, if I'm gonna get all this stuff with the deluxe, might as well. But I think that's all that they're unhappy about is just that pre-order thing. Otherwise, the game looks pretty fine. I mean, there's people saying, "Oh, there's already Sonic collections out there. Why do we need to pay for this one?" The thing is, it's HD, it's widescreen, trophies, achievements.
Yeah.
I don't think Switch has any of that, but that's another reason to play these games. And trophies are going to play into another part of the video game ruckus. But I'm excited for this Sonic the Hedgehog collection, Sonic Origins collection. I don't know if I'll
Ooh.
get it right off the bat though.
Ooh, but what about would it be since the original Sonic games, you could play multiplayer with somebody else to help you? Is that going to be like maybe an online that someone can play with
I
you?
don't know if they really said a whole lot about that. I know that you can play. So here's what it says here. I got the page up and everything. Classic Sonic redefined, and I apologize if I butcher anything. Get ready to experience the classic Sonic the Hedgehog games like never before. Sonic Origins is an all-new multi-game collection reintroducing the favorite 2D Sonic titles that were originally released on the Sega Genesis/Mega Drive platform for the UK people. Sonic the Hedgehog 1, 2, 3, and okay. So Sonic 3 and Knuckles. I wonder if that means it's gonna have the locked on capability where we play as Sonic 3, the real game Sonic 3, which included the Knuckles levels. The reason why it was broken into two is because McDonald's was like, hey, you need to have this game out by the holiday of 1994 because we want to sell Happy Meals. So
Yeah.
Sonic 3 was supposed to be a longer game than it was, and it was not supposed to be broken into two parts. So, little history, little trivia there for you guys. Sonic CD, that's one I never played. Digitally remastered for current generation platforms, developed by Sega, Sonic Origins delivers legendary non-stop Sonic action found in the original games while providing a fresh twist with remastered visuals, added features, new content and modes, and more. Wow,
Sweet.
that's wow. New content and modes and more. We already talked about the pre-order stuff. So it says here, classic redefined, Power on Sonic Origins with all new opening, and they're adding animated cutscenes to the beginning. So Sonic
Ooh.
Mania did this too, and it looked a lot like Sonic CD. I love the intro to Sonic CD. The song, the animation, everything. All new opening and ending animations for each title, from the iconic Green Hill Zone to the treacherous Death Egg robot. You'll speed down memory lane to thwart the sinister plans of Dr. Robotnik. Robotnik, not Eggman, Robotnik. I'm kidding.
It is Robotnik.
And polishing high definition. And when you are ready for a challenge unlike before, turn on the unlockable in-game mirror mode. So that's probably going to be like you play through the game backwards. I know Sega Sonic Mania had this where you play the levels backwards, and it was like, holy shit. So we also have classic and anniversary modes, as I mentioned before. It is Sonic 3 and Knuckles. Yes, the full game. So they have classic mode. Obviously, you can play it in regular standard. Anniversary is the widescreen, and there's actually one spot where they show a Robotnik ship where he's like a trumpet or a trombone, and I'm like, I don't remember that. That must have been in Sonic and Knuckles, and I just probably don't remember that level, or it's something new they added in because I'm watching this and nobody's talking about that. I was like, what is that? I don't remember that boss. So it says here, it could have also been part of Sonic Mania that they just threw in there by mistake. Because that had alternate bosses and everything. All right, Classic and Anniversary. Experience the multi-game collection of legacy Sonic titles in their retro form in Classic mode. This mode features the original game presentation and will play the classic finite live and game over style. Sorry, that was really hard to get through that one. To try something new, jump into the Anniversary mode. Oh, a full screen display. Infinite number of lives to keep the fun going without any game overs. Now, I'm assuming there's probably going to be a trophy to beat the game in Anniversary and in Classic mode because they want people to play the Classic modes. Back then, when you died, you died. Yes, Ivan Drago. Okay, so we have new unlockables as well. New unlockable missions, coins, and music. Okay, So that's probably where that boss was that I saw with the trombone and stuff. That's probably like new missions and everything. Put your skills to the test to earn coins for competing or by competing for various missions throughout the games. Players can spend coins to unlock new content from the vault, try the special stage, and more. Okay, so another thing that they have also added into this game too was the fact that you could play as Knuckles in the original Sonic the Hedgehog. From what I saw in the trailers, you could not play as him. You could not lock onto Sonic the Hedgehog 1 with Sonic and Knuckles in the original game. It was only Sonic 2 and Sonic 3. I even tried to put
Mhm.
Jurassic Park in there and it didn't work. Um, but that's interesting that you can play as Knuckles in the first game. Assuming that's what they meant by that, when I saw the trailer and everything, I was like, okay, we that's interesting. We can definitely get behind that, but it doesn't make sense. I guess whatever. So that's coming out June 23rd, I believe. No, yeah, June 23rd. Yes, June 23rd, 2022. They announced this last year during their Sega Sonic birthday anniversary, and I was all excited. I was like, yes! But at the time, I thought, oh, it's just gonna be another collection, whatever. I'll get it, trophies, blah blah blah. No, this is more than that. This is a lot more. So definitely check out the trailer if you have not seen that already. It's really awesome. I was really excited, but yes, I can see where people have their gripes. I'm not one of those. I'm going to get it anyways. I am a Sonic fan for life. That was my first Sega Genesis game. Sonic 2 got it with my Genesis. So I'm all for this. Now, there's also the Sonic Frontiers coming out later this year, which haven't heard a whole lot about, but that's an open world Sonic game. So we'll see what that's like. So far, I saw somebody say that they think it's going to be a mess, but haven't
You
seen
never
anything.
know.
Haven't seen
Yeah.
anything. I mean, last time they 2D Sonic, yes. 3D Sonic, it's a little hit or miss with them. Sonic Adventure was great. But that is it for the video game news.
Okay.
I'm gonna jump into the video game ruckus. Now, this is the PlayStation Plus service. I don't want to go too much into detail with this, but they did get a release date for when it's gonna start dropping. Let's see. Let me Google that. But just know for us, we are getting it June 13th of 2022.
Okay.
And for the other locations, oops.
June 13th.
All right, so we got the targeted release dates for everybody. So it looks like, oop, I went right past it. Okay, so for the Asia markets, excluding Japan, will be the first to get the new service as it is currently targeted for May 23rd, 2022. Japan will be next on June 1st, followed by the US on June 13th, and then finally Europe will be June 22nd, 2022. So keep that in mind that you will be getting that on those dates. And I was also reading that if you already have a PlayStation Plus, you will be automatically grandfathered into the PlayStation Plus Essential, which is their first tier, basically the one you already have. So it's gonna get a new fancy new title. If you have PlayStation Now, I believe I was reading if you have PlayStation Now and PS Plus, you're going to be automatically grandfathered into the premium, which is the highest tier at no additional cost, but you will have to pay it once the PlayStation Now service and PS Plus service runs out. You will have to pay for the premium, which is $17.99 a month, 120 a year, and then I think 59 or 54 quarterly. I'm only talking about those two because those are the only ones that everybody's talking about because that's the one that has the PlayStation 1, 2, 3 PSP games. And one good thing and one interesting thing about this, I'm currently playing through the Siphon Filter series on YouTube. And what happens? It gets leaked that that's possibly the first game coming to the PlayStation Plus service because they got rated in Korea. 4 games, Siphon Filter 1 and 2, and then Logan's Shadow and Dark Mirror on the PSP, but those could be the PS2 versions too. No word on Siphon Filter 3 or Omega Strain, which Siphon Filter 3 was on PS1 and it was the hardest one in the series. Omega Strain was on PS2. No word on those, but I'm guessing and assuming they're going to come to the service because why would you put the whole series but those 2 games? And a little history on Siphon Filter, it was actually made by Sony Bend, who you might know as the Days Gone developer. That was not really their first game. They made Bubsy 3D, and that game was just a complete mess of a game. And Sony was like, hey, we'll give you another chance to make another game as long as it's not that. And so they worked on Siphon Filter, and that's where it came from. A broken mistake of a game turned into that. So that is one of the first games, but I'm also expecting to see other games. I'm hoping that sometime before the announcement or before the release date, they kind of announce what games we're getting. But what are you hoping to see in the new PlayStation Plus service? And keep in mind, guys, we will cover it once it comes out. Once it's finally released, we will cover our expectations versus what we got on day one.
There's plenty of games that, of course, that I want to be able to play again. Considering I only had the PS1 maybe right before PS2 came out. But I had the original PS2, so I could cross-platform. Like I could go ahead and use the PS1
Mhm.
games, and I was okay with that. But just being able to see a bunch of the games that maybe I'd never got to play because the PS was not my system,
Yeah,
N64 was. So a lot of the games that people were talking about that I never got into, definitely would want to get my hands on. That price tag, though,
yeah,
like, I don't know how I feel about that, but you also got to think you're getting access to so many games.
yeah.
It's still worth it. 120 a year, you said? I mean, it's still worth it to be able to go through that much of a library as long as the library is massive from the jump.
Yeah, and I hope the library keeps growing.
Yeah.
Um, I know that there's some games we might not be able to get due to licensing. Silent Hill is one of those games where I want it to be on the service. I want everything from. I want all the Silent Hill games on there. Silent Hill 1, 2, 3, their original versions, like the PS2 versions, PS1 version. Well, Silent Hill 1 was only on PS1, but I want the PS2 versions of Silent Hill 2 and 3, Silent Hill 4. I don't want the HD collection as much as I like that collection. I want to play the original versions, but also I never got to play Silent Hill 4, and that game is just constantly growing up in price. It's like $200 for that game right now. Same with Silent Hill Origins and Shattered Memories. Those were both on PSP and PS2, but the only problem is Konami lost their source code for those games. So it's going to be a little harder probably to get those games on there, which is probably why they never released them for the PlayStation 4 as the PS2 classics, because they could have. They had Silent Hill 1 on PS3, but it also could have been a licensing issue. Now, I'm
Mhm.
reading that PS3 games are going to be streaming only, so you cannot download them, whereas PS1, 2, 3, PSP games, PS4, 5 games, you can download all those, but they are trying to work on a way to get you to be able to download uh, and not stream PS3 games. It's just they're saying it's kind of hard to do that right now, but then again, you see people running PS3 emulators. You're like, Sony, it can't be that hard because these guys are
Yeah.
doing it over here. So stop making
Yeah.
up excuses. Like, just do it, you know? And if that does happen, I will gladly go to my PS3 and be like, sorry, you're going in the closet, and that's where you're gonna remain, because that's the only reason I have the PS3 still plugged in, because I cannot play PS1 games or PS2 games or PS3 games on my PS4 or 5. I
Yeah.
can with the PS2. I can play PS1 and 2 games on the PS2, but I want to have them all in one spot, if that makes sense. I want to have them all on one console. Hell, I'll even unplug my PS4 and be like, go.
Bye. Yeah.
But what I hope is that games that can't run properly on the PS5, like Manhunt and Metal Slug Anthology Collection, have problems. And even I think one of the Tomb Raider games has issues running on the PS5. So if you've ever played a game and a message pops up that says, hey, this game might run into issues, might have errors here and there, just letting you know ahead of time in case you run into some glitches. Um, Mainly what it is the screen will get distorted or something. Otherwise, the gameplay is fine, but like the menus might be a little messed up or something like that. And it's just like one of those things where you're like, hey, if the game's running, I don't give a crap. I'll still play it, even if the menus are messed up. So I'm hoping that they kind of sort of fix that with this. Yes, they're backwards compatible, but they do have issues now. 360, there were some Xbox games that had a similar issue where it would not work properly.
Yeah.
You'd have a line going through the person's face in Spider-Man 2. PS3, there's even some games from the PS1 that don't work properly, because I
Mhm.
played Mission Impossible. It's a crappy game, but I played it on a PS3 and it just sounded like it was grinding in the game, and I'm like, ugh. And then I go put it in
Ooh.
the PS2 and it works just fine. But I'm not expecting games like movie games or anything like that, because have a little more license than anything. So I'm not expecting like Tomorrow Never Dies or World Is Not Enough or Mission Impossible or Die Hard, any games like that. I'm not expecting those to come out. I'd love to see them, but don't expect games like that to show up on the service because they are heavy, licensed much heavier than anything else. And a lot of the companies that
Yeah.
made those games are no longer around. So you run into that issue too. Like EA does not have anything to do with James Bond anymore. Activision has nothing to do with James Bond anymore. So trying to get the games from the PS2 era might be a little harder because EA might be like, nah, we don't care. So
Yeah.
um, I think for the first few games, first like batch we're gonna get is probably gonna be first party Sony games and maybe a couple third parties because I heard some third party companies are working with the possibility of getting their games to the service. Like there's a fake picture going up around the internet that shows like Metal Gear Solid, Infamous, Prince of Persia, Silent Hill, and I'm like, that's not real, but that's wishful thinking.
Yeah.
Um, and then there's also the possibility of trophies because about a year or two ago, they announced a patent to get trophies on legacy titles, which is PS1, PS2, PS3, but for the PS4. So if I can go through the original Resident Evils with trophies, unlocking trophies, you better believe I'm going to play through all those games again. I never get tired of those games anyway, so yeah, I will definitely go through them and play them all, get whatever trophies I can, play the shit out of those games.
Yeah.
Um, Now, there's some people saying, "Oh, well, why would they put trophies?" Well, if you look at the PS2 titles on PS4, they do have trophies. They might not all have platinums, but they do have
Yep.
trophies. Jack and Daxter is the only one of the only games that has a platinum trophy. Like the Jack series is one of the only games that has a platinum trophy. Red Faction, and then all the GTA games have platinum trophies, but you can't get the original GTA versions anymore because, or actually, no, I think they put those back on. But yeah, that's about all I got to say on the PlayStation Plus thing. But we'll see once June rolls around what what they have in store for us.
Yeah, most definitely.
Now, the only thing I will say is they're not going to do like Game Pass. You're not going to get brand new games day one. So you're not going to get God of War day one. You're not going to get Spider-Man 2 day one because Jim Ryan said, "What's the point? Then we won't make money off of those games by
Yeah.
selling them separately." Now, Xbox is this big Microsoft is this big corporation, so they don't give a crap. They're like, whatever, we'll put a game on their day one, and as long as we get people getting our service, and the people, yes, they do still buy the games day one, but like don't expect it with PlayStation. Like you might not get a new game. We might not get God of War on the PlayStation Plus or PlayStation Now until probably a year from now, Ragnarok. So that's gonna be a day one purchase for me, but not on the service.
Yeah. So with that, we're talking about any kind of video game TV shows you might be watching recently.
I really need to watch Halo. You know what? Screw it. I'm
Yeah.
gonna watch Halo after we're done with this, so they can
Yay.
start it. Still need to finish Castlevania, but I know that they're gonna be restarting Castlevania again with Richter Belmont instead of Trevor and Alucard and all that. So it's gonna probably be the Rondo of Blood timeline, and then I'm hoping that that leads into Symphony of the Night, which is my absolute favorite Castlevania game. So it's everybody else's favorite Castlevania game, but I really need to get into Halo. I need to start up Halo, watch it so that we can talk about it more because you have watched Halo, and so I'm gonna ask you again because I know I asked you before, but what do you think about it now since it's like more halfway through this series? And I don't think the flood has shown up yet, but somebody was teasing it, if I'm not mistaken. And try to
Oh.
talk about it without spoilers. But I saw something mentioning the flood. I said, I don't know if that's a cutscene from the game or a spot from the show. It looked really because the show looks almost like the game at times.
It does. It actually looks amazing, especially when you're getting into it. But the story itself has just gotten so much better. I think that every consecutive episode, it's getting you into it. As someone who's played the games and somebody else I've also been speaking to who's played the games, they were like, "Oh, the first couple of episodes, they're kind of boring or whatever." I'm like, "You got to give it some
Yeah.
time." These people are also thinking about people who haven't played the games, who don't
Mhm.
know anything about the lore and what's going on.
Yeah.
So they need to give you that backstory, and it's pre-Reach. So it's pre the books
Mhm.
and the Reach game, which was like the third or fourth actual game or whatever. But like they they're like giving you this backstory, and you need to know this so that you can get into the action and get into the craziness that's going to happen. That it is happening around the entire like universes that you actually get to see currently in the game, in the movie, in the shows and stuff. So it's like, I am I'm super hype about it. I hate the flood, so
Have,
when
have
they
you gotten the
and
flood
if
in the
they do
game?
show up, oh yeah, I when and if they do show up, I'm going to probably be hiding under a blanket because I hate them so much.
So which and see, it's funny you say that about the lore and everything. I don't know a whole lot about Halo outside of the games themselves, so
Yeah,
that would be something that's interesting to me. I don't mind when a game, sorry, not a game, a TV show does a storytelling. I had a problem with it with the Marvel shows because they did too much storytelling. Like I already know a
like
lot about the
Shield, like
character.
Agents of Shield, like that one.
Agents of Shield was fine because I didn't know a whole lot about Agents of Shield, but like Punisher, Daredevil, Iron Fist, all those Netflix shows, too much storytelling. It was like half the series, half the seasons were storytelling
Flashbacks.
and flashbacks and not enough action. And that's a problem I had with Arrow for the first like however many seasons they did flashbacks. At one point, I just got tired of watching the show. I still finished it, but I was like, I am sick of this show doing the constant. There was one season where I kid you not, it was like every 5 minutes there was a flashback, and people were like, "Look, y'all gotta stop it,
Yeah,
stop
that's
with the
cringy.
flashbacks." But so Halo, it probably won't bother me because I don't know anything about it. Same with The Witcher, I know nothing about the story, so I do not mind the storytelling in things like this. But I do got to ask, which Halo game are you on right now? You still on the first one, or have you moved on to the second one?
I'm on the second one. I'm probably like 3/4 of the way through the game.
Mm,
But I played Reach first because I'm going the order of the books. So
okay.
I did Reach, CE, and now I'm on 2. So then we'll continue from there. And I'm playing that on stream just because, it's my reactions to something I haven't seen ever before.
Oh
So
yeah, no, no, I've witnessed these reactions. They're
Mm.
they're very funny. Um, that's a good idea because I want to do a Halo playthrough as well, but I don't know if I want to stream it. I think I want to just do it as a episode or episodic content for the channel, like mission 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, however many missions there are. Do it like that. But I'm not sure if I want to do Halo Reach first. I might just want to play them in the order that they released, because I feel like once you do a game like that, so like Resident Evil, I'm bringing this back. When you play through Resident Evil and you play through the order release 1, 2, 3, remake 0, you don't really have to play the original. Uh, it's nice to play the original Resident Evil, but when you're playing through the two GameCube titles, remake and 0, if you play the remake in those order that they released, the remake first and then 0, when you get to the end of the game, you get that tense moment of, oh crap, shit's gonna hit the fan here in a minute, because you know that it's leading into all the crap that happened in the first game. So I like doing it that way to get that suspense going, because I feel like
Yep.
if you play it other way around and you do 0 first and then remake, people are expecting to see what happens in the next game. So I like the fact that you do that. I like how prequels do that, where they lead you into, and if you've been a fan of those series like Halo and stuff, you know what it's going to lead into. You know that it's going to lead
Yeah.
into the first game. Rogue One was the same thing. When it ended, you know that it's going to lead into right into A New Hope, so you know what's going to happen next. So I just like how they do that. But I mean, really, people can play the games any order they want. You can play Reach first, you can play Resident Evil 0 first, and then go that way.
Mhm.
Um, I just like doing it that way because it's that that's what I'm thinking of, tenseness, I guess. I
Yeah,
can't
the
think
the
of
build up.
the build
That
up.
build
Yeah.
up.
So yeah, I'll watch Halo. I will get to it. Like I said, probably after we're done here, I will watch it at least one episode. I tried to finish an episode of Hawkeye and I fell asleep again.
Well, the first
Um,
episode is the longest, so
for
just be
Halo,
prepared.
what is it,
Yeah.
like an hour, 2 hours?
I think it is like an hour and 45 minutes or something like that. It
Okay,
is the longest one.
okay. So
So
I will.
hopefully the first one and the last one in the season will be the longest.
Yeah, I mean, I know Walking Dead does that from time to time. They have like episodes of like, I don't watch Walking Dead live anymore because I don't have cable, but sometimes I'll watch an episode. I'm like, good God, this episode's taking forever. How long is it? Oh, an hour and 45 minutes. That means it must have been 2 hours live.
Y- Yep.
Mm. So that's about all I got for this episode. Is there anything else you wanted to add before we wrap it up here?
No, I think we're good. We got into a lot of stuff today. It caught up and pretty much covered everything I think we needed to cover. Go ahead.
So we're not gonna do it now, but for the next episode, we're going to be talking and discussing comparisons between movies based on video games based on movies, or video game tie-ins to movies. So video game movies in general. So you got the movie tie-ins and the movies that were based off of games. Most of them are not good.
Yeah.
Most of them suck. But we'll talk about all of them. I will likely share my experiences with most of these games I played growing up and how I pretty much hated most of them. But
it's definitely going to be a fun episode.
Yeah, there are a few games that are based on movies that came out years later that were actually really good, and I'll talk about those. And there's one game in particular, if I can remember it, that was based on the movie, but only because Fox made them make it based on the movie. It was not supposed to be tied into the movie at all. And this happened twice in this series run. X-Men and Wolverine. Wolverine Origins. So I'll talk about that. And other than that, I got nothing else. Where can people find you? We mentioned it before, but let's let them know again where they can find you.
Well, they can always find me on here, Mittens13, streaming on Twitch, Mittens13. Anywhere you can find me on those, you can also find all of my links to any of my socials, my Discord and everything. So definitely, get to know us better. And if you have any questions or you want to suggest anything that we want to talk about later on, go ahead, drop us a DM or something like that so we can actually see what you want us to talk about.
And I'm going to have all her links to her socials down here in the description. Again, like I said, you can find me everywhere. I have all my important links are going to be at the bottom as well. We will put the Discords in here. I do have one. Actually, just if you want a link to the Discord, let me know, because my Discord's a little right now. I'm trying to build it back up. But I will have a link to Mittens Discord as well. Because my focus isn't there as much as it used to be, but I'm trying to get back into there to get more stuff going and everything. I was gonna say one more thing and I forgot what it was.
Oh
no. I am drawing a blank here. Watch, I'm gonna remember it as soon as the episode's over. I'm gonna remember what it was I was gonna say. Yeah, okay. So the episodes are likely gonna be going up Mondays. I was thinking Thursdays, but I feel like Monday's better because the news is still fresh in everybody's mind to go up on Monday. So keep that in mind. The episodes will likely be up Mondays, and I'm gonna be shifting my playthroughs over to Thursdays and instead of Mondays. So if I don't ever get an episode up on Monday, just know it will likely be up on Thursday of that week. So I will just shift those 2 days, Monday to Thursday, Thursday to Monday kind of thing. Or Friday if it's not ready to go. But normally stuff like this is pretty easy to edit together and knock out and get uploaded and everything. So it shouldn't be too bad. Other than that, guys, if there's nothing else we got to say, thank you guys for watching. Hope you enjoyed the episode. Be sure to hit that thumbs up, ring the bell to be notified of when these episodes do go live. Share with your friends and family. And if you're new to the channel, consider hitting that subscribe button, not only to here, but to Mittens' channel as well, because it does help us out in the long run. Helps us get the viewers up, everything up. Helps us with the channels in general. And I'm really trying to get more playthroughs going on the channel, going back to what I started the channel for. Same with Mittens. She's getting some stuff up on hers as well. You do mostly like Twitch clips, right?
The clips, the VODs, everything gets piled into mine. I also have like openings of like packages relating to games and stuff like that too.
Yeah, I'm actually thinking about doing something similar to that, like game of the week, because I do my game of the day on Instagram and everything. I'm trying to do something more of like that, but not necessarily my recap style. It'll just be like, oh, I got today's game is Quake, and this released in blah 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 day or blah 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 year, and this is what it was like when this game released, blah blah blah, stuff like that. I won't go into detail on the gameplay and everything, just maybe a quick 1-2 minute video and call it a day on that one. Just something like that. But other than that, guys, again, thank you for watching, and we will see you guys in the next episode. Y'all have a good one. And